Hey guys, I'm back. I know it's been a couple months since I've posted, and I'm sorry for that. Summertime was crazy, and I got all caught up in having fun in summertime. But I'm back. A couple people actually messaged me recently and asked me why I haven't posted a video, and I wanted to, post one and think about the kind of things that I wanted to post it. Recently, I've been talking to a couple people, a couple good friends of mine. One of my best friends has been suffering through stints of anxiety, and this video is really for first-time anxiety sufferers and how to kind of cope with all the initial feelings of anxiety, because it's something that sometimes really overwhelms us because we don't know what we're really dealing with. One of my best friends has recently gone through a really tough time with her life, and lots of changes have been happening, so she's been getting really bad anxiety. And one of the common things she kept asking me was, Medea, why is my body and my mind against me? And that's something that I really want to focus on here, is that a lot of times when we're suffering from stuff like anxiety, we feel like everything is against us. Our lives, our personal lives, our social lives, our bodies even are against us, because a lot of triggers come from our bodies. So whether it's your stomach, whether it's your heart, whether it's your shakes, like you've got body shivers, there's a lot of aspects that come into feeling anxious, and it affects everybody differently. One thing I want to note is that I want you to understand something is, if you're going through anxiety and it's your first time feeling this way, you need to understand that you're not the only one that's going through this. And it's so important to ask for help and to talk to people that are maybe experienced or have gone through it. There are a lot of people that suffer from this. Pretty much everybody I know suffers from a range of anxiety, some worse than others, and most people are afraid to talk about it. I don't know if any of you guys know, but I'm an ESL instructor, and working with new immigrants, a lot of them are confused about what anxiety really is. But in each culture and each religion or whatever I've come across, being working as a teacher, there is anxiety. There's just different levels of stigmas around it. So, for example, some countries might, I guess, downplay the feeling of anxiety, like, oh, you can control it, it's just in your head, you're fine, you're calm, just calm down, just breathe. But you know what, that's not really a positive thing to be able to really tell anybody to just calm down or to control it with your mind. Obviously, if people with anxiety could control it, there wouldn't be so many mental health issues in the world, right? So I want to tell you, my first thing that I want to say is that you're not alone. There are a lot of people that suffer from this, people that have normal lives, people that have husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, families, mothers, fathers. There's people really suffering from this, mental health issue. And not just anxiety, obviously there's many others, but I just focus on anxiety because that's what I would say is I've had the most experience with. So first things first, I really one thing that I've always been really big on is timing. So when we're anxious, one thing we really worry about is like, oh my God, what's going to happen next month to me? What's going to happen 2 weeks down the line? What's going to happen next year? What am I going to do with my job, my kids, my this, my that? And I think one of the best pieces of advice my therapist one time gave me was, I remember one time I had a really bad panic attack, and I went to his office and I'm bawling my eyes out, and I'm, holding my chest. I'm dying. I'm telling him, I'm like, Kenny, his name was Kenny. I was like, I'm dying. And he's like, okay, let me ask you something. He's like, Medea, can you make it through the next hour? And I was like, no. I'm like, I'm going to die within the hour. He's like, okay. He's like, can you make it through to the next 30 minutes? And I was like, no, probably not. That's still a long time away. I'm like, I physically can't breathe. I feel like I'm going to pass out. He's like, okay, can you make it through the next 5 to 10 minutes? And I was like, no, I literally want to die right now. I'm going to collapse. He's like, okay. He's like, can you make it through to the next minute? And like, I was like weirded out while he was asking me these questions, but like in reality, it was a good point. Like, I was so anxious and that feeling was so overwhelming. But like when I stopped and thought, okay, can I make it through the next minute? Like, am I gonna die in the next minute? I was like, okay, I guess I can make it through a minute. A minute's not gonna kill anybody. Like, a minute goes by pretty quickly. He's like, take it through however much you can handle. If you can't even do a minute, do the next 30 seconds. If not, do 10 seconds. Let's count to 10 together. So we counted to 10. And after the 10, he's like, okay, you survived 10 seconds. He's like, let's do another 10. So I counted to another 10. And I remember just like oddly feeling a sense of calm because I was making it through to the seconds that I believed I wasn't going to make it through. So, I got through the few seconds, and then at one point we were almost at 10 minutes. And then he's like, see, he's like, you thought you were going to die in 10 minutes, and here you are sitting and surviving. He's like, you're fine, aren't you? So that's when I kind of got a little aha moment. It was when I realized that when we're in that moment, we think we cannot survive the next, 5 seconds. We're about to die. Everything's gonna be just like grim and dark. But it was when I realized I could survive the little spurts of time rather than like seeing it as like, oh, the next 20 hours, the next day I have work the next morning. Oh my God, I'm not gonna sleep tonight. That's when I really got a hang of kind of seeing where my anxiety comes from. Another point is your triggers. It's really important to understand what triggers you. For example, one of my triggers is when I don't sleep. I know if I'm going to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and I gotta be up at 7, I'm gonna have a crappy day the next day. So I already prepare myself. The next day I'm like, okay, Medea, you went to bed at 4 tonight. Tomorrow's gonna be a rough day. You're gonna feel anxious. You might feel nauseous. You might even throw up. Like whatever feelings you might feel, that's what you gotta kind of just cope with. So one thing I notice is when I tell myself that, I'm less afraid of the feeling that's gonna come. I'm not as like, oh my God, this is gonna happen to me. I think those are the two really most important things, is that I find anxiety is like this little monster that lives within our heads. And this monster has a cloud on top of it. And the more we feed it and the more afraid of we are of, panicking and freaking out in front of our co-workers or our spouses or our family members or our children, that's how the anxiety grows, or this cloud grows, and it gets bigger and bigger. And then at one point it's this like humongous, monstrous cloud that's terrifying, right? But once you accept that, like, okay, I have a cloud over my head today and I'm gonna be anxious all day, but if it's a passing cloud, it's not as scary. It's not as something that's gonna be grim and on you for the rest of your life. It's something that just kind of passes through. So the less you feed into it, the less it grows. So if I feel that day I'm gonna be anxious and I kind of prepare myself and warn myself about this anxiety, I'm less likely to have a panic attack. I can handle the anxiety, but it's that panic that I fear so much that I'm terrified of. But once I kind of told myself, okay, today's gonna be a crappy day, I'm gonna feel anxious all day today, I might throw up, I might not sleep, I might be jittery, I might not eat, all the feelings that I personally feel, then I understood my anxiety and then I wasn't so afraid of it. And then it lessened that panic and that fear that I felt so strongly towards. So those are the kind of tips that I could give you in terms of like just kind of addressing it rather than running away from it. The more you try to run away and hide this under the rug, I promise you the more it's gonna grow. My real takeaway from this video is I want you guys, if you're feeling anxious for the first time, read about it, look online. There's a lot of self-help books. There's a lot of people out there that suffer from this. If you can afford a therapist, go to a therapist. If you can talk to friends, message me. Like, I'm out here, I've been through it, I've handled it. I'm not a therapist, but I mean, it's always good to talk to someone that's experienced it, and it kind of makes you feel less alone in the world because you're not alone, and there are people that will help and are here to listen. So if you guys ever need, message me, reach out, whatever you need to do, do it. But good luck and don't give up. Keep trying. Bye, guys.